What is the worst experience you've had flirting with someone? Not exactly flirting, but back in first year, I took a girl I'd had a huge crush on to see a movie. Near the closing credits, I leaned in to kiss her, and she leapt out of the seat and screamed no at the top of her lungs in the middle of the theater. Driving her home was pretty awkward. After that I had a lot more confidence asking girls out, because I figured what's the worst rejection that could happen? Scream in terror in front of more than 100 people. Been there, done that. Dating and flirting got a lot easier after that. I once saw this guy wait for a girl's friend to go to the toilet, leaving her alone. Then he danced this really goofy dance. He put his arms out to the side with his elbows bent, then basically bobbed his arms up and down, all the way across the room to her, and, while still arm bobbing, said, "Hey, wanna dance?" To which she replied no, and he said okay. Then did the arm bob dance all the way back across the room to where he started in one slick motion. Oh, man. Once in 6th grade, I was sitting in class when I noticed the girl I had a massive crush on sticking her tongue out at me in a playful way from across the room. Well, I took this as an invitation to reciprocate. Back and forth, we traded silly faces. That moment may have been the greatest of my entire childhood had it not been followed by the worst. I felt a tap on my shoulder and spun around to see the guy who made my life a living hell. Tall, good looking, captain of the basketball team, bullied me constantly, looking at me like I had just his dog. Apparently, she had been trading looks with him, and I was caught in the crossfire. Yeah, that one still stings. Similar to Ob's story, only I was in line at Subway. I was friends with the girl who was making the sandwiches that day, and she was definitely cute. The guy in front of me was hitting on her as he made his sandwiches. He had like 3 or 4, so he was giving her a hard time for a good 10 minutes while she prepared all of it. When he finally paid, he grabbed and kissed her hand as she gave him his change and said in the cheesiest voice I've ever heard, "Would you accompany me to the theater, my lady?" I could tell by her face that he was going way too far, so I tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, that's my wife." He goes, "Bull poop, prove it." I just about drew a blank when the girl reached over the counter and grabbed me and gave me a huge kiss. The dude turned totally red and ran out of the store. Then she gave me extra cheese for free. TL. Doctor, I got a kiss and cheese from a girl at Subway. Sigh. I was flirting with a girl in a bar and it seemed to be going well. About a half hour into our conversation, I had one of those very strong sneezes, the ones that come out of nowhere and cannot be stopped. I ended up snotting into my hand and had a string of goo from my hands to my face. When I pulled my hands away, I just walked away. This was 2 years ago. My buddy had been talking about this girl he had been hanging with for a while. He had been taking her out to various avenues and just spending time with her, but had not worked up the courage to kiss her. He finally decided to introduce me to her and tells me to meet him at this bar we go to. I walk in and he is nowhere in sight, so I text him and he says he is running a little late. He will show up in another hour or so. Duck. So I start ordering drinks, and at the bar I notice this girl who is not bad looking and seems as frustrated as I am. We get to talking about how unreliable people can be, introduce ourselves, and I take her to play a game of pool. We are flirting pretty hardcore throughout this game, with her accidentally brushing up against me and whatnot. Eventually I make a bet with her on a shot. If I make it, she owes me a kiss. I sink the shot, make out with her for a few minutes, yada yada yada, find out it is the girl he has been seeing. They've been together since, and we didn't inform him of this for a few months. Update, well, shit. He is away doing military training, and she just cheated on him this weekend. Guess he should have seen it coming. I used to work at the mall, and many days we would go to a certain burrito place for lunch. None of us employees knew the cute Hispanic girls who worked there. One guy just called them all Mariah by default. There was one girl there I thought was especially cute, so I decided, by God, I'm going to ask her out. So I went to the taqueria in question, and when she asked me what I wanted on my burrito, I asked for her number. Since that wasn't a burrito topping, she paused and then repeated the question. I looked around. There was a line of hungry, impatient people behind me, staring, unamused. My momentum was gone. I mumbled something under my breath about "I've seen you here before" or some shit. Misinterpreting what I was asking her, she leaned over, pointed helpfully at one of the possible burrito toppings, and said "olives?" It was at that point that I realized that she did not speak English beyond the basic vocabulary needed to make a burrito. I relented and ate my lunch in defeat. I had an uncontrollable crush on a gorgeous, tall unaffected guy named Alan my first semester of college. He lived on my floor and couldn't be any less into me. I could tell that I had a snowball's chance with him, but the hormones, they are impossible to ignore. Being very inexperienced, I thought that creating drama would inspire him to see me as the cute vulnerable stereotype I thought all boys wanted. So I manufactured some reason to need to have a long, emotional talk in the hall, and, with what I thought was superb timing, I looked up at him with big teary eyes, paused for 2 heartbeats, and then lunged at him for a kiss. He called me on my shit so fast, my head spun. "I knew you were going to do that," he said. "You know I'm not interested in you." What made you think that was going to work? It was the first time I'd made a pass at a boy since moving to the city from the Bahamas, and it was the first time I'd been rejected. He did me a favor in a way, though. I never used artifice or stereotypes, or created false drama again. I still wish he had let me kiss him, though. Edit. Proper tense. True story. Last night the girl I've liked for a long time was sitting next to me, kept moving closer until we were talking and basically rubbing against each other, and I was so happy. Then something happened and I had to move away for a moment. When I tried to move back very close, she got up and left. I tried asking what was wrong. I tried apologizing, but she just walked away. Then I woke up and I was so sad. I was at a bar with some girlfriends of mine when a very handsome guy came up to me, spoke to me for 10 seconds, and then shoved his shy and unfortunate looking friend in front of me with "This is guy's name. He's something good and interesting." It was clear to me in this moment that the handsome dude was trying really hard to wingman his unfortunate awkward friend and get him acclimated to talking to girls. This for whatever reason touches my heart, and so I set about having polite and friendly conversation with awkward dude. Awkward dude proceeds to chat me up, and I pretend to not see the thumbs up from handsome friend. Awkward dude seems to be a nice guy, just painfully shy. He asks me where I'm from about 3 times, after I've already told him, always followed by high-pitched laughter and "I'm sorry, I already asked you that." It's endearing. He's clearly having 40% of a panic attack just speaking with me, and I'm being very careful to give him positive reinforcement to build his confidence. This is when my friend comes up to me, looks at the guy, grabs my arm and says, "Okay, I'm saving you," and pulls me away. I stop her, say, "No, I'm having fun. I'll be over in a minute," and she literally points and laughs at him and makes some mean joke about my charity work. The look on the dude's face still makes me wince when I think about it. He was totally crushed, like every doubt or criticism he had about himself was just validated, and he walked away from me as fast as he could, totally humiliated. I'm an extremely shy guy, but I was on my holidays and met this gorgeous Russian girl who works in a bookshop. I had noticed her before, so after we speak for a while I tell her I like her straight away. She says she won't date me until she knows me better, and that is okay for me to stop at the bookshop and have a chat whenever I feel like. So we do this a few times, and she is very friendly despite me not hiding my intentions at all. And then one afternoon I notice her boss is working behind her, but she tells me it's okay to chat. We do that for a while, me stopping whenever a customer enters and doing my best not to disrupt her. After a while her boss comes to me and tells me to leave. Extremely embarrassed, I apologize and leave. I come back to the shop after a few days and only the boss is there. I apologize again for the incident, and she tells me point blank that she's fired the woman and that in the end I made her, the boss, a favor. I felt terrible and haven't come back to that place. TL. Doctor, got the object of my affection fired. I was a cocktail waitress at a club, and this super hot girl was flirting with me. I couldn't believe it. She was smart, interesting, stunningly beautiful, and she actually asked for my number. After I give it to her, she tells me my friend thinks you're cute. I'll make sure she calls you and walks away. Yes, it was the old bait and switch. She was hooking me up with her friend, who was 15 years older than me, way too serious, and not even the slightest bit my type. To make up for it, when the girl called and asked me out on a date, I tried to get out of it. She said she already knew I was free, since I had told her friend, and wouldn't take no for an answer, so I brought my 2 best guy friends along. It actually ended up being a pretty fun night, but there was no way I was going out with that girl again.